Welcome to Past, Present, and the Future, the Impacteers podcast, where we bring you insights from seasoned professionals across diverse industries. This is your go-to podcast destination for exploring career paths, industry transformations, and future opportunities through the eyes of the experts. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Tippu Sultan, the head of e-commerce and digital media at Atomberg Technologies. With a distinguished career that spans several prestigious companies such as Emami Limited, Cavin Kare, and Mondelez International, Mr. Sultan has established himself as a leading expert in e-commerce and digital media, driving growth and innovation across various roles. At Atomberg Technologies, he oversees an entire e-commerce and digital media strategy, significantly expanding the company's online presence. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Tippu Sultan, a visionary leader and trailblazer in e-commerce and digital media. And here is the man himself, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tippu Sultan. Thank you so much for taking time off to join us today. And I'm sure most of your interactions have started off with the name. Of course, I can't go past it because I grew up with that name on the telly. I think it's the first time I'm running into that name.
I still haven't run into one Tippu Sultan yet. But yeah, there's a legend story behind it. When I was born, my dad was watching the serial Tippu Sultan produced by Sanjay Khan. And he thought like his name is Sultan and why not Tippu, just fell into his lap. Right. Figuratively.
Right.
That's how I went about being named Tippu Sultan. And it's a very nice icebreaker in most of the interviews.
Yeah.
Talking to people. I don't have to put in a lot of effort at all. It's just my name helps things sail through over there.
Yeah, it's a little unfair. I almost wish my dad was watching Batman, maybe.
That would have been great.
That would have been nice if I would say my name's Bruce Wayne or something like that.
Sure.
But okay, let's go back all the way to the beginning. But you sort of seem to have conquered the e-commerce space and then you're in the digital marketing space. Take us back to the start. Where did it all begin for you?
Everyone seems to portray that they have figured it out, right? But no one figures things out right from the start. I did metallurgical engineering. Metallurgy deals largely with metals, chemistry which I hated a lot, but still ended up doing it. They said, okay, don't do software. Everyone's doing software. Do something different. Go and work for a core industry. I thought like core industry, it must be fun. I went on the first day of my job. I was digging a furnace. Furnace was at 960 degrees centigrade. Ambient temperature of the furnace room was about 55 degrees. And I was just shoving and digging. And all my 8 hours of shift, I was doing that. Then I thought, I'm not going to do this for the rest of my life. I got to find a way out. But I would say that was one of my grounding experiences where I learned the art of man management, right? Probably the first couple of months, I was doing all the manual labor work. But there was some science behind it. Because if I'm not doing something with my own hands, I can't ask someone to do it. I can't man a team and ask them to go do a work without knowing how it is being done. And then I thought, okay, fine, this is something we can do for a while, but not forever. And then I thought, okay, probably should do an MBA because, engineering the flavor turned into MBA. Got into Mondelez. Mondelez was also known as Cadbury in the country. Been here chocolate space for a very long time. I was hired as a supply chain management trainee. 6 months went in various stints, manufacturing, sales, etc. The biggest exposure that I got over there was to work with the leadership team. Then moved into the Bonvita and Tang category as a supply planner. Got a lot of grounding in learning about Excel. There is one skill that you need to learn very quickly in your life. It should be about how do you work spreadsheets. I had very, very good mentors in Mondelez. A couple of really, really good, nice people, told me that, what are you doing in supply chain? Should go out there and do sales, get into sales marketing, get into business kind of roles, figure out, what's there. You'd be wasting your talent if you're there in supply chain and doing, the spreadsheet stuff, the planning stuff, etc. I said, okay, fine, let's try it out. I went back. That was drilled into me with the various people around saying that this is one of the notions that we strongly hold.
But what are some of the key factors you think really helped you? Because we all have those one or two things. Sometimes it's work-oriented, sometimes it's just human nature-oriented, and sometimes it's things that you don't really expect, but you learn, and that becomes a very valuable lesson for as you go on. But right now in the digital marketing space and considering your variety, I'm sure there have been a couple of things that have just become very concrete for you right now. So what are a couple of those things?
From my sales stint, understanding how consumer or a shopper purchases something. They are coming into the store, looking at Cadbury chocolates, looking at some other competitors, and they're choosing a competitor. And my heart broke when that happened, right? I am here enticing you to purchase my chocolate, but as a consumer, you are there, you evaluated me, but you went out and purchased. So that was an eye opener. Despite having a very strong brand pull, despite having an extreme in-store execution, but still there is a consumer preference which would go for other chocolates, right? And when you look from a consumer angle, they're purely probably evaluating from a price standpoint or from their taste standpoint. When that happens, and when I tie it back to my experience here what I'm doing is like, how is my consumer going to evaluate me, or how well entrenched are they in the journey of their purchase, or have they been introduced in the brand? So it's the entire funnel, which we call funnel today in digital marketing, was open to me, or I was introduced to it on the shop floor or on the store floor when a consumer is making a decision. That was one of the biggest learning that I had, which I could translate into a digital media. So that was one of the strongest thing that I could translate. Second thing is about context switching. I've worked in a lot of industries, right, or at least 3-4 industries. This is my third industry that I'm in, which is consumer durable, which is fans predominantly today. I worked in foods, which is chocolates. I worked in shampoo brands, which is Emami and Cavin Kare. But the kind of choices that people go through mentally, or the decision matrix that they go to mentally, remains largely the same.
Now, considering your career so far, considering there have been quite changes, I'm sure there have been quite a lot of opportunities, and I'm sure there's been a lot of challenges as well. How does all of this sort of help prep you for the future? Or what would you say is your mindset for the future of the field that you're in, which is digital marketing?
I'm very comfortable with chaos. Things are very ambiguous. That's the nature of the game, right? When you're saying, be it digital, be it e-commerce, as you said, things change very quickly. There are newer tools that you got to adapt, that you have to implement to get the best out of your product portfolio. And that always paints anyone into a corner or puts them out of their comfort zone. But I have made that as my comfort zone, right? Operating in chaos, I feel very comfortable. Embrace chaos.
I guess so, yeah.
Be okay with it, and then still can function at the top of your game.
Now, using that same logic, how would you see, considering whatever you've seen changes, you've seen ups, you've seen downs, you've seen industries suffer at the hand of COVID and the coronavirus and so on and so forth. What do you think the future holds for both the industries, let's say, the e-commerce section of it and the digital media section of it, just from what your knowledge?
As a country, right, we still have a very long way to go in the e-commerce journey.
Right.
We are extremely under-indexed over there. And so this is going to be an industry but still waiting to be, or still part of the booming process. So there's easily another 5 to 7 years that this industry is going to become big. Infrastructure is getting better. Our consumers are becoming more tech savvy. We have the largest consumer base. Entire purchase journey has changed. There's a whole online, offline that's kind of happening.
Change the game a little bit.
Yes.
But what about the digital media?
Now, when you're going on Google, right? When you're going on VIP.com or one of their, or Mokobara, when you have gone to their website, you suddenly start seeing a lot of suitcase related or luggage related content on Meta or on YouTube. You have gone there, you have registered your cookie. Obviously, they're going to target you and say that why my suitcase, my luggage is better than anyone else's. You are influenced there as well. At the end of it, whatever I am convenient with, I would go and buy.
Now, considering the various companies that you've been in, you've run a lot of campaigns, you've run a lot of exercises with an idea, with an outcome in mind, yeah? In today's day and age, considering how social media, considering how the digital space is evolving so quick, trends are changing day to day, quite literally. How does one stay on top of things today to make sure they're on top of things as far as the digital marketing space is concerned? Be it a brand or be it an individual that's sort of suggesting something for a brand.
answer from a two aspects of. I have this ritual of following a few people online, few their Substacks. Kind of read it early in the morning, maybe 7 to 7:30 types every day. Keep me updated and take notes out of it. I ensure that half an hour, 45 minutes every day I spend in knowing what's happening in the digital world. It's about the kind of notes that I take. So obviously you use a pen and paper, or use a Notion, or you use your good old Microsoft Word. Reading or going through the notes becomes extremely important over there. How can I adapt it to my way of working in my line of working? And what are the things that I can get my team to learn? If it makes sense, I quickly forward this to the group on WhatsApp. We have every week or every 2 weeks, we have something called as invest in yourself. So every couple of weeks, one person comes and presents something that they're newly learned. This kind of creates a culture, a forum wherein you can exchange ideas. We are never in the backstep with respect to anything that we are doing with our day-to-day work. We have a very tight schedule with anything that's happening on the e-commerce bit with respect to Atomberg fans, with respect to our market share on Amazon or Flipkart, or with respect to our share of voice on Google search, what is our search impression. Everything is made into a process that the first 1 hour in the office is that people are going through their dashboards, analyzing stuff, and the next 7-8 hours they are taking the steps or taking reactionary or responding to some other onslaught from a competitor in such a way that we come out at the top. Growth and market share and profitability are three things that we hold dear to.
Leading a team is a very crucial part of any sort of organization today. Yeah, how do you sort of embrace creativity where there's culture that's constantly changing and trends are constantly changing? How does one stay on top of those things?
I've worked for a lot of leaders who have exhibited either a micromanagement kind of a style, or someone who has this is your responsibility, you take care. So for someone who is just starting their career, they would most likely encounter a micromanager. They're still very raw. They probably would have done a few content on the digital media, but they wouldn't know what is the repercussions associated, what are the consequences, or what are the ways that they can grow. A few skill sets that's very much required in that field. If a person doesn't micromanage over there, then it falls through. Then comes the fact that you got to be constantly updated, you got to be constantly on the toes. It also depends upon one's appetite of what kind of content they are consuming and how are they learning from it. You can't control all these things, but you got to control a certain aspect of things in such a way that it is beneficial for them in the long run. But when it comes to my management style with my team, right, I probably meet them for an hour and a half on a Monday. We kind of go through the motions of, these are the big rocks that we are working with. There might be challenges that will come our way on our everyday day that we can get chat up and sort it out. After that, everyone's managing their work and they are the owners of their processes, and they kind of go and deliver it. Over a period of time, people get used to the way that one would work, and then they would follow what's best.
Now, this is for the freshers out there, for the freshers and the students that are looking to get into the e-commerce space. What are some of the initial steps that they can take or do today that would make it easier for them to transition or sort of get into the e-commerce space?
Any product, you make it a logo. You make a logo. Easily register a brand name, get a GSTN number, and start a business on Amazon.in. It's very simple. Just that we think it is very difficult. The process is threadbare laid out. There are videos to help you out. Try doing that. Try starting a business, any business. You can sell pencils on e-commerce. You'll know how your title should be done, what pictures are being allowed, what category it comes, what is the HSN code, how are you going to ship, whether you're going to take an Amazon delivery or is it going to be easy ship, is it going to be self-ship. So many options, and everything is like a buffet laid out in front of you. You just have to go pick and choose and eat whatever you would love to. Most of the processes are online today. Once that is sorted, you can start your own business. And once your product is listed, you just see, how am I going to run ads on that product? Am I going to run a sponsored product on it? If I'm going to run a sponsored product ad, whom am I going to target? What are the keywords that I'm going to target? What is the ROAS that I'm going to operate on? What is the cost per click that I'm willing to fund And there are like umpteen number of videos, educational content out there for free that can train you up and run and set up and run a business of your own on Amazon.
But for today, if someone was, if you were to give advice to someone to join an internship somewhere, what sort of internship would give them the best value to sort of get into the e-commerce space? Where can they get the most amount of learning?
The most amount of learning for an internship in the digital e-commerce space is like listing your product. If any organization offers you an unpaid internship to do a mechanical work of listing, just grab it.
Okay.
You should be ideally paying a company to get that internship. That's how valuable that is. You'll be working in a team. There's so many people working in e-commerce in the digital space. Talk to them about how are they promoting it, who are the consumers. You kind of have to be a rag picker over there. Pick up the rags and stitch it and make a suit for yourself.
That says, so basically do it yourself, but when you throw yourself into something, you'll automatically pick up and learn. Of course, the topic of discussion today on everyone's mind, on everyone's lip today, AI seems to be taking over quite a bit. It's ruffling a few feathers, is causing a lot of excitement in certain areas. How do you see AI factoring into all of this, and what do you think the future holds as far as AI is concerned? And what should freshers right now look out for? Is there something that they can do to sort of equip themselves along the lines of AI, certain tools or certain things that would help them or give them a little bit of an edge in terms of getting into this space? Or what are your views on that?
The thing with AI is that it's ever changing and it's not going to stop. But all you need to have is an access to it. Dedicate some time and try it out.
If you evolve yourself, if you sort of equip yourself, it won't really replace you.
Yes.
You can use it,
You
essentially.
can use it. Being abreast of what's happening in the world, because it's super fast changing every single moment of the day. I will think more from a business angle. The analysis part of it, the data part of it is solved entirely by an AI. That makes my job simpler and easier.
Mentors are very, very important for anyone growing up in any sort of in any field. Talk to me about mentorship in this industry, and mainly I want to find out from a fresher's perspective, how does one go about finding the appropriate or the proper mentor for them in the e-commerce or in the digital media space? I mean, what would your advice be for that?
It is extremely critical to have a mentor. At least help you show that like there are 5 different ways you can do it. But at the end of it, the decision is yours. If you have someone telling that, you have found a mentor in that particular person, you envision yourself to be. If that is the large gate criteria that you would put yourself, with the way they go about things, they would help you decide. You have a good access to them.
You need to be able to access them whenever you have clarifications.
Yes.
What do you think a fresher can actually expect with salary?
See, it depends upon a lot of things like what kind of skill set that you bring, what is the attitude that you bring. Skill set can be learned. What is the attitude predominantly that you carry with? Communication skills play a major role. Where do you come from in terms of your pedigree, in terms of college, your education, your experience? They dictate a lot of things. In e-commerce, in digital, there's money to be made. There's a clear roadmap of how big this industry is gonna get.
Okay.
And even if you start really, really small, so it depends upon how you grow in that. How do you grab the opportunities that come by? We got to have an open mind with the right attitude, grab every opportunity, skill set that you can develop. And there's a lot of room to grow.
Last, and I have to touch on this because resumes are very, very important today from people going for a job. 2 things if you can touch on for a fresher approaching this. What are 3 things that you can put on your resume that would give you an edge? And what are 3 mistakes that you should absolutely not make by putting on your resume when you're going for an interview to get into an e-commerce?
I'll talk about how I evaluate a resume, right?
Okay.
Broadly, a fresher's resume, because they wouldn't have much to show in terms of work
experience. Yeah.
I'm assuming they are coming from a college background. What they have done, have they done anything in sports? Are they part of any committee? They have organized an event. They have done some paper presentation. They have won some competition, some cultural thing, some functional competitive thing that they have done. This is the first outlay that this has kind of become a baseline today. If you're interested in something, you would have done definitely some kind of a course, some kind of an internship, be it paid, unpaid, it really doesn't matter. And you would have mentioned that in your CV, right? Someone interested in digital marketing, you did definitely done fundamentals of digital marketing from Google. That's something that I expect. It has probably become a baseline today. And if you have not done it, that's a straight reject. Because you are applying for one particular position. I can understand the fact that you didn't get an opportunity to work for it, you didn't get an internship to do it, but the least that I would expect is to go out
in
and
a little bit of knowledge about that income, just a
Yeah.
little bit of prep.
Yes.
Right? That I
Right.
understand.
That shows your attitude.
Now, what are 3 main things that you do not put on a resume? Aside from the obvious, which is cut,
No.
copy, paste, whatever my friend Jagdish did.
For example, ChatGPT written resumes, we can easily find out.
Nope. Okay.
Yeah, definitely not. Even if ChatGPT
How ironic, no? Today.
We talk a lot saying that use ChatGPT, but don't use it for these purposes. You can take inspirations from it, word formations, grammar checking, all these things. You can definitely free to use it, but put your heart in writing what you have done. Second thing is obviously don't put a lot of resumes that I see, name, address, father's name, marital status. Some resumes I've seen, visa for US, yes, and all those things. All these things are outdated. Be it very crisp. You can carry your photo. You don't have to carry your photo. So I'm completely up to you. Million formats out of it, out there. But keep it extremely crisp. You are someone who doesn't have much of experience, and you're applying for 5 different roles in 5 different companies. Have 5 different resumes.
That's as good as the points can get.
Yeah.
But I have to end this on a last bit of advice from you. Past, present, and future. Where do you see e-commerce today? Where do you see e-commerce in that business space going in the digital world going in the future? You've seen where it is in the past. We've already discussed that. We've taken a good stock of where it is right now. Future.
Past didn't exist. Today, talk of the town. Tomorrow, it'll be like an everyday life. You just wouldn't realize that there was some other way to shop.
That's as simple as it can get, right?
Yes.
Said very simply, but I'm sure it's quite complex anyway. Thank you so much, Mr. Tippu Sultan, for being here with us. Thank you for taking time off. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much.
That's all the time we have for this conversation, ladies and gentlemen, but there's a lot more insightful conversations in store just for you. All you have to do is stay tuned to us on all our social media platforms that's flashing on your screen right now. This is the past, present, and future, the Impacteers podcast, your sure shot way of staying inspired.